Hey guys, Reese here. Welcome back to the channel and thanks for checking out this video today. Now, I have a somewhat boring topic to talk about today, unfortunately. However, it's very important, especially when it comes to buying real estate, and that is how to start building your credit from nothing to over 700. Now, if you've seen a few of my videos, you know I am primarily a real estate investor. And in almost every video I make, I'm preaching the benefits of buying real estate. The way real estate allows you to use leverage to grow your wealth, while also providing that monthly cash flow that allows you to achieve financial freedom, in my opinion, makes it the best asset class for beginning investors and seasoned investors to earn money in. And while real estate will always be my #1 recommendation on how to build your wealth, it does have some barriers to entry that investing in the stock market or other assets don't have. And one of those barriers to entry is that you need a relatively good credit score to get good terms on loans to purchase that property. And really, before you even start buying real estate, you should have over a 700 credit score. And the best terms and best interest rates don't happen until you reach over 740. And so in this video, I'm going to show you the best way to start building your credit from nothing if you're like many others out there that currently don't have a credit score. So guys, before we really dive into this video, I would love it if you'd take a moment to hit the like button on this video. I really appreciate it. It helps me out a ton. And if you're new to the channel, please also consider subscribing, as I put out 2 videos a week on real estate and finance. And I would love to see you all in the next video. Okay, so with that said, I have a few easy steps that don't take too much effort, but is a great place to start to begin building your credit from nothing to over 700 in this case, in which I really feel is the lowest credit score you should have when purchasing real estate if you want the best loan terms. However, before we really dive into it, please keep in mind throughout this whole video that building your credit should not cost you any money. At this stage, you really shouldn't be paying annual fees. You should definitely not be accumulating debt on these credit cards. And you should never ever be paying interest on these cards as well. This really violates the whole point of getting a credit card, as this card is now costing you money and encouraging you to spend more instead of opening new doors to help build your finances. I feel it's very important to learn how to create a budget and adhere to a budget first before getting your first credit card. This will help instill discipline, adhering to your finances, and make it easier to not overspend once you do have access to a credit card. So if you're interested in learning more about budgeting and saving more of your income, I'll go ahead and link a video up in the top here that's one of my previous videos on how to create a budget and stick to that budget long term. So step 1 to building your credit from nothing is to get a secured credit card. Obviously, in order to build your credit, you need a credit line. The only issue with this is it's kind of a catch-22, where you can't get a credit line without a credit score, and you can't get a credit score without a credit line. And so that first step is to get what's called a secured credit card. And all this is a credit line backed by a security deposit. So for example, if you have a secured credit card with a $500 limit, that means you have backed this limit by giving that credit card company a $500 deposit. And this way, if you never pay off your $500, the credit card company can use your security deposit to pay off your debts. Now, once again, the one thing to keep an eye out for here is whether or not these credit cards are charging you money. There are plenty of free options out there. And so once again, I want to reiterate, you should never be paying money to build your credit score or take advantage of credit. Now, my favorite secured credit card is the Discover It secured credit card, which is free. There's no annual fee. It has a low deposit requirement for that security deposit, and it actually pays you cash back, which is pretty cool. They will also automatically review your account status after around 8 months to determine if you are ready to be upgraded to a Discover It unsecured credit card. Now, out of the scope of this video, but going to a secured credit card is also a great way to start rebuilding your credit if you have a very bad credit score. That way, the credit card company is not at risk for lending you money because you've already given them a security deposit up front. Now, step 2 is super simple, and it's just to use this secured credit card responsibly for 6 to 8 months. Now, I think this goes without saying. However, in order to build your credit score, you actually need to use the credit card responsibly. However, using a credit card responsibly comes in 2 points of view. from your point of view and from the company that's lending you money. So using a credit card responsibly from your point of view means, one, you should never be using a credit card and carrying a balance. When you carry a balance, you're racking up interest on this loan amount, and credit cards have notoriously high interest rates. And so you should make sure every month to pay that credit card off in full. In addition, you should never buy something just because you have a credit card. Your monthly expenses that you've created a budget for should not increase now that you have a credit card. With your first credit card, you should really only be buying the essentials on it and keeping the purchases minimal. You should never be using more than about 10% of your credit limit. So for example, a $500 credit limit, you should really only be using $50 of that credit line before paying it off. This means over the 6 to 8 months that you're using this card responsibly and building your credit, you should really only be putting those little purchases on them, like filling up your tank of gas once a month, or little grocery items. And finally, this, like probably every other tip in this video, is pretty self-explanatory, but never make a late payment. This, first and foremost, will lower your credit score and make it even harder to build that credit score over the next few months. However, you'll also be charged late fees and interest on that debt that you have not paid, which is just putting you farther back in the hole instead of moving forward towards purchasing that first rental property. Now, from the other point of view of those providing the credit line for you, they look at on-time payments, your credit usage, the age of your credit, total accounts held, your total credit inquiries, and any derogatory marks on your credit. Now, while using your secured credit card, we really want to focus on those first two items. Make 100% of your payments on time and keep your credit usage to under 10% of your credit limit. Now, step 3 after those 6 to 8 months of responsible use is to get an unsecured credit card. Like I said earlier, if you decide to go with the Discover It secured credit card, after around 8 months, they will automatically review your account. And if you've been using this card responsibly and you've been paying it off on time, they will upgrade you to an unsecured credit card. Now at this point, your credit should be good enough that you can start to qualify for other unsecured credit cards. Now I know this might seem a little counterintuitive, but the number of accounts you have open is actually a good thing for your credit score. The more you have open, the higher your credit score. And so at this point, we want to go ahead and open up a couple other unsecured credit cards. But the key is don't go overboard here. Open up a couple credit cards that have, once again, no annual fees at this point, but offer bonuses like airline miles or cashback bonuses. And while it makes sense to sometimes pay annual fees on these credit cards depending on the bonuses that they provide, and this is what credit card churners do, so go ahead and research that topic if you're interested in learning more about credit card churning. The goal here is not to make a profit from these credit cards, but to build responsible habits and to keep increasing your credit score. And so at this point, I would still recommend avoiding any credit cards with annual fees. Therefore, open another 2 to 3 credit cards and once again use them responsibly and only charge minimal purchases to those accounts to build that credit. Once again, never spending more money than you would if you didn't have credit in the first place. And once again, I can't stress this enough, but make sure you never carry a balance, you're never paying interest, and always pay those cards on time. And finally, step 4 is just to monitor your credit score and keep doing what you've been doing the past 6 months. As you continue to use your credit cards responsibly, it's important to monitor your credit. This will help you catch any errors on your credit report, as well as fraud, and just overall make sure you're headed in the right direction with your credit score. Now, there are plenty of free credit monitoring sites as well, so make sure you're not paying for this either. One such site is Credit Karma, so feel free to use that if you're interested. I also keep track of my budget through mint.com, and you can monitor your credit on that website as well. Now at this point, your credit really should be well over 700. However, it will just take time and consistent use of these credit cards to build your credit and get above 740. The nice thing is that anything above 700 is really good enough to get started purchasing real estate and getting decent loan terms. And as you add these properties to your portfolio, the mortgages on these properties count as new credit lines, which will help increase the age of your credit over time, as well as count as new accounts open. And as long as you're making those monthly mortgage payments on time, that will also benefit your credit score. So guys, I know this video is very simple, it's kind of self-explanatory, but it is super important if you have any interest of really getting into real estate investing or buying your own home in the future. So I hope this video was helpful, at least a little bit. So please guys, go ahead and like this video if it helped you out today. I really appreciate it, and if you wouldn't mind as well, if you're new to the channel, go ahead and subscribe. And with that said guys, thank you so much for stopping by. I look forward to seeing you in the next one. Have a great day.